to it. That is what value is. So when you see the difference, now it starts to become clearer, the difference. And when you add white to your basic hue, that is called tints. You're tinting it, whereas when you add dark, like this wheel here, that's you're shading it. You're adding shade. But you can see, even these two basic wheels, this is, all I did was I take this yellow, I kept adding black, till it got there. You know, I changed the value of the yellow on these two. Yet going back to the intensity, you could see the difference of the, one second, I'll move this so you can see. You can see the difference of the colors. You know, this is just a darker with black. When you put them next to each other, it looks similar, but still this is darker. And also, if you notice, when it goes more down the wheel, it still keeps a blacker appearance compared to that, where this is more neutral. Then you can see how towards the end it really changes. But that is yellow with shades of black. And then once again, this is yellow with, this is yellow with tints, with all white added to it, as you can see. So, now that we understand intensity a lot better, and color, what I want to show you is, I'm just going to slide this over, and there we go, my top secret color wheel. You don't tell anybody about this, I'll have to find you. But this, what's amazing is now with technology, you know, basically this controls everything. I control the power of color. Yeah! With this wheel, what's amazing is it has on the outside every hue you want. You have blue, you have violet, you have red, you have yellow, you're green, and also, so you can do that. So rather than doing it the old way, you know, where it's teaching you like mixing the gray or mixing the complementary with the yellow, now thanks to computers and technology, you know, simply this is your hue. I can make it as red as I want by moving this. I don't know if, like, see this, by moving this left but keeping it on the highest upmost part of this square, I am changing the value to white. It's going to be changing to a lighter color. I'll show you, I'll paint and show you what I mean. But this is amazing because basically any computer program you have, if you have Photoshop, it'll be similar setup. You know, you have the ability to color any color you want without worrying about mixing, which is a huge convenience. So like, there you go, very intense. That's your pure hue. Then I slide this over more towards the left. Then if you notice, it gets a little brighter value-wise. It's as if, now as you can see, it's as if I was mixing white with the paint. This is what would happen if I kept mixing white in, till eventually you'd have white. And that is the value of red. But also the way this is set up is what we were just talking about. I can do the same thing, but by keeping it on this right side, if you notice, this is all black. This right side is black. So if you see, I start again with the really intense hue of red. I slide this down, and then look what's happening. It's getting dark. Until eventually you get the black. But as you can see then, that thanks to this, you know, that's how you do it with only values. But also, if you notice, look carefully, if I stay in an exact diagonal, that'll give me the intensity of that red. Because what's going on here is you have all different shades of gray. As I move this along, it's all different shades of gray you know, mixed in. But if I stay in the exact diagonal, that means I'm gonna have the intensity lowered without adding any tints, any bright white for value, or any dark black for value. So it means it's going to stay that tint without any added value. So I'll do that next. I'll show, so red again, and staying in a diagonal. And once again, every program's different, you know, how you get your intensity or how they mix the colors. But I'm just showing you, this is Paint Tool Psi. But look what's happening now. I'm staying in a diagonal and the red is losing its intensity. It's turning neutral. So it's basically, it's neutral now by staying in that. And that's a big difference. This red right here compared to this red, it's a big difference. So that's something to point out. And one final thing before we get into something else. Going back to my intensity wheel, this is the intensity. What I just mentioned is very important because I'm going to add black. I'm going to add black to this section. So I take this little tool, this droplet tool, which sucks up whatever color it is. Bam! Bam! Take that! So if you notice, the circle lands right there when I suck up that color. Same with this. If you notice, look right here while I'm sucking up the colors. It's all absorbent on that diagonal I was kind of telling you about, and all the intensity. So that proves right there that the intensity is going down. But if I go over to my other color wheel with the yellow, if you noticed all these tints, it stays on that top line like I just showed you. And then finally go into the dark shaded one, it goes on that, and you can see you get the way it works. So going back to the intensity wheel, if I just put black, I'm going to mix in a little black with this. Whoopsie. I want to mix in a little black. And you can see I'm mixing in very little. And if you were using actual paint, you know, you'd want to do the same. You just want to mix in a very little to change the hue, so to change the intensity. But by mixing that black, watch what's going to happen when I choose it compared to before. You can already see it's darker, but I take that little suction tool. I made a slurp noise. So I take it from there, and then I'm going to use it on here. Wow! Did you see what happened? This little thing moved lower to the darks. It moved to the dark side. Yo! The dark side. Bam, bam. But like if you could tell, see, just by adding a little black to my intensity of yellow, it lowered it. It lowered it to a darker intensity. Anyway, so the basic point I'm getting at is, which is very, very important to remember if you're coloring, whether it be on computer or you're using actual paints, is to remember that every single color can be achieved by remembering that you can change the intensity. So this is the lower intensity of yellow, but you can also change the intensity's value. By adding black or white to that intensity, you create a different effect of the color. You create a different value. And then that just leaves, you know, so many options for coloring. So that's where I'm going to stop in terms of doing the intensity, the value. If you have any questions, please comment and I'll go over it again. Let's see. One more thing, and then I'm going to get into showing you some more examples of like colors I used in my drawings. So one more little tip I want to give before I get into the drawings is take this yellow spot right here. This is the highest intensity you can get, the hue of yellow. Now, depending on the background, I can make this yellow really pop out, or I can make it not so much like pop out. I can make it blend in. But one of the tricks is to use a complementary color on the background.